can move mountains. Faith can make a way. When I put my trust in Jesus, I will not be afraid. There are mountains standing before me. There are rivers I must cross. There are moments when the pathway looks completely closed to me. But I remember those before me who believed when none could see. They held tightly to God's promise and discovered victory. Noah built upon a promise before the rain began to fall. Abraham stepped into the unknown when God called him from it all. They did not possess tomorrow, they simply trusted God's command. And the faith that moved their footsteps was the faith that helped them stand. The faith that moved the mountains, faith that crossed the sea, faith that held on to God's promise when there was no guarantee. Faith that moved the mountains, faith that would not run. Lord, awaken that same faith in the hearts of everyone. Abraham left his homeland with a promise in his heart. He could not see the ending, he only knew he had to start. He walked beneath unfamiliar skies, trusting what the Lord had said. He learned that faith is sometimes taking steps without a map ahead. And when the promise seemed impossible, when his years were growing long, he still believed the one who called him would remain forever strong. So when my own dreams seem delayed, Lord, teach my heart to trust your word. Let me believe your promises, even when the answer can't be heard. Moses stood before the waters with the enemy behind. There was nowhere they could travel, there was nowhere else to hide. But God told him to move forward, and the waters made a way. What appeared to be an ending became freedom that same day. Sometimes I am standing likewise with a problem at my feet. I can see no road before me, yet your power makes a path. So I will not turn around, Lord, I will not return to chains. If you tell me to keep moving, I will trust you through the waves. Faith that moved the mountains, faith that crossed the sea, faith that held on to God's promise when there was no guarantee. Faith that moved the mountains, faith that would not run. Lord, awaken that same faith in the hearts of everyone. I was Rahab in the city, a woman choosing faith. She believed the God of Israel and risked her life that day. She opened up her household, she protected those who came. Her courage became a doorway to a different kind of life. She was not defined forever by the story of her past. carrying a burden deep. She poured her heart before the Lord and refused to stop believing. Her prayer became an offering. Her tears became her song. She waited through the silence and continued trusting God. When her answer finally came, she remembered where it started. She gave God the highest honor for the blessing she had wanted. Teach me how to pray like Hannah when my heart is full of pain. Let me worship in the waiting and trust you once again. David walked toward the giant with a faith much greater than fear. While the army saw a problem, David knew his God was near. He did not boast in his own power. He did not trust his strength. He remembered how the Lord had helped him when the lion came against him. One stone and one surrendered heart were placed within your hand. The giant that looked undefeatable could not withstand your plan. When my giants stand before me, let me remember who you are. My problems may appear enormous, but my God is greater still. Who is greater than the mountain? Our God. Who is stronger than the battle? Our God. Who can make a way through darkness? Our God. Who remains when others leave us? Then I will trust him. We will trust him. I will praise him. I will praise him. I will follow until the victory comes. 3 young men stood with courage when the king demanded fear. They refused to bow before him because they knew their God was near. They did not know the outcome. They did not know what God would do, but they chose to remain faithful even when the fire came. But that is faith beyond the outcome. Faith that doesn't make demands. Faith that says whatever happens, I will still remain with God. Give me that kind of courage.
Oh, yeah, na, 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 na. Yeah. They trusted God and kept walking. They never turned back. Through the fire and the wilderness, God stayed on their path. There were men and women before us who walked where they could not see. They left behind familiar places to follow what God had spoken. They did not possess the answers. They did not control the road. They simply trusted in the promise and allowed the Lord to lead. Their journey was not always easy. Their faith was sometimes tested hard. But they learned that God's direction was worth more than comfort's call. So when I stand at my own crossroads, when I don't know where to go, let their courage speak within me. Trust the Lord and keep moving on.
They trusted God and never turned back.
They held on to the promise when the road became uncertain. They believed that God was faithful.
They trusted God and never turned back.
Though the journey wasn't easy, Lord, give us that same courage to keep walking faithfully. Abraham heard the voice of God and stepped away from what he knew. He left his father's country with a promise pulling him through. He didn't have a detailed map of every place he would arrive. did not mean a simple road. The wilderness still had to come. But the God who brought them out would provide for every step. When my freedom has a price, Lord, when the journey feels too long, help me never romanticize the chains just because the road is hard. They trusted God and never turned back. They held on to the promise when the road became uncertain. They believed that God was faithful. They trusted God and never turned back. Though the journey wasn't easy, Lord, give us that same courage to keep walking faithfully. There was Ruth who chose to follow when she could have walked away. She stayed beside Naomi and stepped into an unknown place. She left behind what she knew and embraced a different land. Her loyalty became a testimony of a faithful heart that stands. She didn't know the future waiting when she gathered in the field, but through ordinary faithfulness, God began to reveal His plan. Sometimes faith is not a miracle that everybody sees. Sometimes faith is simply staying when leaving would be easier. Joshua and Caleb stood among them when the others lost their faith. They saw the giants in the land, but they saw God's greater grace. They didn't deny the obstacles, they simply knew who God was. They refused to let their fear decide what God could accomplish. Many voices say it's impossible, we should turn around and flee. But two faithful hearts remembered the promise God had given them. When everybody says you cannot, give me courage to believe. Let me listen to your promise more than fear around me. Yeah, there will be seasons in our lives when the crowd begins to change. People who once walked beside us may decide to leave the faith. There may be pressure to compromise, there may be easier roads to choose, but following the Lord is sometimes choosing what the world refuses. Give me strength when I am standing almost by myself. Give me courage not to trade your truth for temporary acceptance. I would rather walk with Jesus through a difficult road alone than walk with many people on a road that leads me far from you. When the road gets hard, we will keep walking. When the answer delays, we will keep trusting. When the crowd turns back, we will keep believing. When the giant stands, we will not fear. Who is leading us? The Lord. We will never turn back. Daniel lived among a culture that demanded he compromise, but he opened up his window and continued seeking God. He knew the consequences waiting, he knew the law could bring him pain. Still he chose to honor heaven rather than surrender faith. And when they placed him with the lions, God remained beside his servant. The danger did not disappear before Daniel dug the fjord. They simply trusted in the promise and allowed the Lord to lead. Their journey was not always easy, their faith was sometimes tested hard, but they learned that God's direction was worth more than comfort's call. So when I stand at my own crossroads, when I don't know where to go, let their courage speak within me. Trust the Lord and keep moving on. They trusted God and never turned back. They held on to the promise when the road became uncertain. Fear cannot rule your heart when you trust the Lord completely. You can make a brand new start. Courage doesn't mean no trembling. It doesn't mean you never fear. Courage means you keep on walking when the way ahead isn't clear. There were servants who stood faithful when the world demanded change. They trusted in the God of heaven when obedience looked strange. Their faith was not a feeling that disappeared when trials came. It became a steady anchor that kept burning like a flame. So when fear begins to whisper, turn around and walk away. Let my faith become my courage. Let me trust you anyway. When faith becomes your courage, you can stand when others fall. You can walk through deep waters when you hear the Savior's call. When faith becomes your courage, you don't have to know the end. You can trust the hand of Jesus. You can trust your faithful friend. David saw a giant standing where an army stood afraid, but he remembered God's protection from the battles he had faced. He didn't have the strongest armor, he didn't have a soldier's fame. He had confidence in heaven, and he knew God's holy name. The giant spoke with threats and anger, trying to make the people flee. But David answered with a faith that refused to bend its knee. Sometimes giants come before us with a voice that sounds too strong, but the size of our opponent doesn't change who we belong to. Esther lived within a palace where her people faced great danger. She could have remained in silence and protected her own position, but she understood the moment was greater than her fear. She stepped forward with obedience and trusted God was near. She asked her people to pray for her before she entered danger. Then she walked into the presence of the king without a guarantee. That is courage born from faith, Lord, not courage born from pride. Give us hearts that seek your wisdom before we step into the fight. When faith becomes your courage, you can stand when others fall. You can walk through deep waters when you hear the Savior's call. When faith becomes your courage, you don't have to know the end. You can trust the hand of Jesus. You can trust your faithful friend. 3 young men faced a furnace because they would not bow. They were given one commandment, but they chose to honor God. They did not know if God would save them from the flames that awaited them. Still they would not compromise what they believed was true. Their faith wasn't based on outcome, it was rooted in the Lord. They declared their trust in heaven, even facing death itself. And the fire that should have ended them could not destroy their faith. God was with them in the furnace, and he brought them safely through. Not every battle is a giant, not every trial makes the news. Sometimes courage means when harshness would be easy. Faith becomes courageous living when our actions match our prayer. Let my daily life reflect you, let your love be visible there. Fear can tell me I'm too little. Fear can tell me I'm too late. Fear can make a closed door look like an unchangeable fate. But fear doesn't know tomorrow, and fear doesn't know your plan. Fear cannot determine destiny when my future's in your hands. So I will breathe and pray for wisdom. I will listen for your voice. Then I'll take a step before me with the confidence of faith. I don't need to see the staircase all the way up to the sky. I only need enough faith for the next step I must take. When fear comes, we will trust God. When trouble comes, we will stand. When the door is narrow, we will walk. When the road is difficult, we will say, who gives us courage? Jesus. Our faith will not die. Some people are afraid of failure because they failed before. They remember every setback and are frightened to try once more. But Peter learned that failure did not end his calling there. Jesus met him after falling and restored him with his grace. So I won't let yesterday become a prison for today. If I stumble, I can rise again and continue on the way. The Lord can use a wounded person who has learned to trust His grace.
Through the fire I will stand. God is holding my hand. Oh, yeah. There are seasons life can bring us when the road becomes severe. There are trials we never expected. There are moments filled with tears. We may wonder why the struggle has appeared along the way. We may ask the Lord for answers that don't come immediately. But the heroes who went before us also walked through difficult days. Their faith was not built in comfort, it was refined within the flames. So when hardship stands before me, I will not surrender hope. The God who carried them through fire will carry me as well. Walking by faith through the fire, trusting God through every trial. Though the flames may rise around me, He will stay by my side. Walking by faith through the fire, holding tightly to His word. What the enemy meant for evil, God can turn around for good. Joseph dreamed of something greater long before it came to pass. Yet the road toward the promise led him through many trials. He was betrayed by his brothers. He was sold and left alone. Then he suffered false accusations far away from home. Years passed before the answer, years before the dream became real. But through every painful chapter, God was shaping Joseph's heart.
cost. He could have hidden his devotion, he could have protected himself, but he opened up his window and prayed just as before. He chose faithfulness to heaven rather than the fear of men. The lions could not stop God's purpose, the darkness could not win, for the Lord remained beside him in the middle of the den. When I face pressure to compromise, give me Daniel's steady heart. Let my faith remain consistent, whether hidden or in sight. Paul and Silas sat in prison for proclaiming Jesus' name. Their backs were bruised and wounded, yet they worshiped just the same. They could have filled the midnight with complaints and bitterness. Instead, they filled the darkness with songs of thankfulness. Then the prison started shaking, and the chains began to fall. God showed that praise is powerful, even in the hardest walls. When my circumstances tighten like a prison around me, let my worship rise higher than the chains I can see. Yeah, yeah. Not every fire is visible, not every battle is known. Some people carry burdens that they face completely alone. There are struggles in the family, there are worries in the mind, there are financial pressures that can steal a person's peace. But the Lord sees every burden, and he knows each hidden tear. No pain is ever wasted when we place it in his hands. So I will bring my troubles to the one who understands, and I'll keep walking faithfully, though the fire still remains. When the fire comes, we will trust God. When the night is long, we will trust God. When the answer delays, we will trust God. When the mountains stand, we will trust God. The apostles faced rejection, many suffered for the truth, yet they would not stop proclaiming what they knew the Lord could do. Some were beaten, some imprisoned, some gave everything they had, yet they counted it to manna to remain faithful to Christ. We may wonder why the struggle has appeared along the way. We may ask the Lord for answers that don't come immediately. They believed they held on. Oh, God was faithful all along. Some promises take a lifetime before their beauty can be seen. Some prayers travel through the silence before the answer breaks the night. But the faithful kept believing. When the waiting became long, they learned that trust is not dependent on how quickly answers come. Abraham waited through the years, Lord, yet he trusted what you said. His faith became a living witness that your word will never fail. So when I cannot see the harvest from the seeds I've planted now, give me strength to keep believing according to your instruction. While the world could not understand, He worked upon a promise before the rain was ever seen. People may have questioned Noah, they may have laughed at what he did, but obedience does not require the approval of the crowd. He kept building day by day, Lord, faithful to the task you gave. And when the waters finally came, your promise proved itself true. Teach me how to build in silence when nobody understands. Let obedience be my worship as I place my future in your hands. Oh, Ruth walked into uncertainty with loyalty in her heart. She stayed beside Naomi when an easier road was open. She did not know the blessing that would come from faithful love. She simply chose to do what was right and trusted God above. She worked within the harvest fields, gathering what remained. Through ordinary acts of faithfulness, God was writing something greater. Sometimes the reward is hidden in the small things that we do. A faithful heart may never know how far its kindness travels. Oh, you are the God who rewards their faith, the God who never forgets. Every seed that we sow in trust is held within your hands. Oh, you are the God who rewards their faith. Your promises remain. Though the waiting may be long, Lord, your faithfulness will never change.
And I carried years of longing, but she kept returning to you. She poured her heart before you with a faith that remained true. She did not hide her sorrow, she brought every tear to prayer. She believed that you could hear her,
Even when the answer wasn't there,
and when Samuel came into her life,
she remembered where he came from.
she gave him back in service.
With thanksgiving to the Lord,
Teach me not to forget you.
when the answer finally comes,
Let every blessing make me
more devoted to your name.
Joseph went from dreams to darkness, from the pit into a prison cell. Yet the Lord was with him when his circumstances looked impossible. He could have become bitter
At the people who betrayed him,
instead he kept his heart faithful
and continued doing good.
Then one day the door opened and his position changed completely.
But the greatest reward was not the palace, it was seeing God's purpose clearly.
The years were not forgotten,
The suffering was not wasted.
God had been preparing Joseph
For a responsibility greater than he knew.
David was anointed as a young man, but the throne did not come quickly. There were years of hiding, there were battles he never planned.
He had opportunities to retaliate against the one who hunted him. Yet David chose restraint and left judgment in God's hands.
His waiting became preparation,
His wilderness became a school.
God was shaping David's character.
Before giving him greater influence,
So when I'm waiting for my season,
keep my heart from rushing ahead
let me grow where you have planted me.
until you say the time has come. Does God remember the faithful? Yes, He remembers Sometimes good intentions fall, some promises take a lifetime. Some promises take a lifetime before their beauty can be seen. Some prayers travel through the silence, but heaven sees the hidden labor. Every sacrifice and prayer, nothing offered out of love is invisible to God. So I will not search for applause, Lord. I will not give for recognition.
What they believed became their story. What they endured became their song. God was faithful through their journey, and their witness still lives on. Some lives preach without a pulpit, some testimonies need no stage. A person who remains faithful can speak through every season. The heroes who walked before us did not always have an easy road. They carried questions, faced rejection, and sometimes carried heavy loads. But they kept their eyes on Jesus. They continued in the race, and the trials they once walked through became evidence of grace. So let my life become a message, not just words that I can say. Let the choices that I make point somebody to your way. Their faith became a testimony, their trials became a song. They trusted God through every season, and He kept them moving on. Their faith became a testimony, their lives became a light. Let their stories awaken courage in our hearts to do what is right. Joseph had a dream from heaven, but the road became so dark. He was betrayed by those who knew him, yet God guarded every step. From the pit into a prison, from rejection into pain, he could have allowed resentment to become his permanent name. But he kept serving where he stood. He kept using what God gave, and eventually the prison door opened into a greater place. His testimony wasn't only that he reached the royal seat, it was that he remained faithful when his circumstances looked bleak. Hannah carried silent sorrow that many people couldn't see, but she took her deepest longing to the Lord in prayer. She didn't allow her waiting to completely close her heart. She continued trusting heaven when she couldn't see the answer. And when Samuel came into her life, her prayer became a song. She remembered God's compassion and gave Him all the glory. Her testimony tells a waiting heart, don't stop talking to the Lord. A delayed answer is not proof that God has closed the door. Their faith became a testimony, their trials became a song. They trusted God through every season, and He kept them moving on. Their faith became a testimony, their lives became a light. Let their stories awaken courage in our hearts to do what is right. David faced the giant standing with a confidence in God. Later he would face more battles, more betrayal, more uncertainty. journey wasn't perfection. It was a heart that turned to God. When he stumbled, he repented and continued on the road that gives hope to every person who has failed and feels ashamed. Your mistake is not your ending when you surrender it to God.
Rahab carried a past behind her that could have defined your life, but faith opened up a doorway to a completely different future.
She chose to trust the God of Israel when the safer choice was fear. Her courage protected others and changed the story of her household. God can take a complicated history and write a chapter full of grace. He can transform a person's future when they turn toward his face. So don't believe the lie that says your past has sealed your fate. The God of mercy still creates new beginnings out of broken places.
3 young men faced the furnace because they would not compromise.
They didn't know the final outcome,
But they trusted God completely.
they refused to bow before an idol, even when the price was high.
Their faith was stronger than their fear.
And their courage would not die.
The flames became their testimony.
The furnace became their song
God was with them in the burning.
and brought them safely through.
Sometimes people learn about God's faithfulness
Because they watch us endure
the way we face our
difficult seasons, can point somebody toward the Lord.
What did their trials become?
A testimony.
What did their tears become?
A testimony.
What did their waiting become?
A testimony. Let their faith become a testimony.
Let our lives tell the story. Esther entered a dangerous moment,
Knowing silence had a price. She could have protected herself, but courage asked her to arise.
She sought the Lord with fasting
And stepped forward with humility. Her willingness to take a risk became deliverance for many.
Her testimony tells us plain that position has a purpose.
Sometimes God places us somewhere
So our
courage can help another. So if you give me influence, Lord, let me serve as Jesus would.
some lives preach without a pulpit.
Some testimonies need no stage. A person who remains faithful can speak through.
When the world says no, I will still say yes to God. When the pressure rises, I will stand upon his word. There are moments in our journey when the easy road looks bright. Everybody seems to follow, everybody seems alright. But the road of faith can ask us to be different from the crowd. It can call us to be truthful when the truth is not allowed. The faithful men and women before us face decisions just like these. They chose the Lord above approval. They chose truth above their ease. So when pressure comes around me, when acceptance has a price, give me strength to keep my footing and refuse to compromise. Standing firm when the world says no, standing strong when the pressure grows. I will trust the God I know.
let go.
Daniel lived among a people who did not share his faith, yet he did not hide devotion when obedience became dangerous. They created laws against him to prevent his prayers to God. But Daniel did not change his worship just because the pressure came. He opened up his windows and continued as before. He knew that pleasing earthly rulers was not greater than his Lord. When the lions became his punishment, Daniel trusted God instead, and the Lord shut the mouths of lions while his servant rested there. Three young men stood before the king with a choice they had to make: bow before the golden image or remain faithful to God's name. Yeah, they knew the furnace waited, they knew the consequences well, but they refused to give their worship to an idol made by men. Their faith did not depend upon the outcome of the flame. They said they would remain with God even if he did not save them. That is faith beyond a blessing, faith that doesn't bargain first. Give me such a heart, Lord Jesus, when obedience becomes costly. Standing firm when the world says no, standing strong when the pressure grows. I will trust the God I know, I will follow where he goes. Standing firm when the world says no, I won't trade my faith for gold. If I must stand alone for Jesus, I will stand and not let go. Esther could have chosen silence when her people faced destruction. She could have guarded her position and avoided confrontation. But she understood her purpose was not given just for comfort. She stepped into the danger and trusted God with what would follow. She prepared herself through fasting. She sought wisdom before acting. Then she entered into the moment with a courageous heart. Sometimes faith means using influence for the people who have none. Sometimes God gives us a platform so another life can be helped. There were prophets who proclaimed truth when the kings refused to hear. They were mocked and rejected, but continued without fear. They did not change God's message just to make the people pleased. They remembered whom they served and refused to bend the truth. But faithfulness can be lonely when the crowd chooses another way. But one obedient voice can sometimes wake a sleeping generation. So give me courage to speak wisely, not with anger, pride, or hate. Let me carry truth with mercy and let love determine how I speak. Standing firm is not just something
That happens in a famous story.
it happens in the quiet choices that
Nobody else can see.
it is refusing dishonest profit when nobody would find out. It is keeping your word faithfully when breaking it seems easier. It is treating people with respect when they cannot give you something. It is choosing not to retaliate
When somebody treats you wrongly,
It is guarding what you watch and say.
it is protecting what you value.
Faith becomes a daily decision to let Jesus
Shape your life.
foundation, Jesus Christ, we will not let go. Sometimes even those around us may not understand our choices. They may think our faith is foolish. They may question why we pray. But we don't need to fight them or respond with bitterness. We can answer through our actions, through humility and love. Let our lives become the answer to the questions people ask. Let them see that faith produces patience, kindness, strength, and grace. If they disagree with what we believe, let us still respect.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. From generation to generation, your faithfulness remains. What you planted in our fathers will rise in us again. Yeah. There were mothers who kept praying when their children walked away. There were fathers who kept trusting through the struggles of their days. There were elders who remembered how the Lord had made a way. They carried stories of His goodness and passed them down through faith. They taught us not to fear the darkness. They taught us how to pray. They showed us that a faithful life can speak beyond the grave. Now we stand upon their shoulders with a future in our hands. May the faith we have received, Lord, become stronger where we stand faithful through every generation. The God of yesterday and now, the God who walked with those before us, is still with His people now. Faithful through every generation, your promises remain the same. Let the children rise believing in the power of your name. Abraham received a promise that stretched beyond his days. He learned to trust the Lord completely through uncertainty and change. The promise wasn't only for him, it was meant to travel on. His faith became a foundation for generations yet unborn. Isaac inherited the promise, but he still had to believe. The faith of one generation must become personal to each. We cannot live forever on somebody else's faith. Each heart must choose to trust you and walk within your grace. Jochebed placed her little baby in a basket on the Nile. She could not control tomorrow, but she trusted God meanwhile. That child became a leader who would guide a people free. A mother's act of courageous faith became part of history. Sometimes what we do in secret has a future we can't see. One prayer over a young child can shape a whole community. So let every parent understand
Noah stood before the people. After Moses passed away, a new generation had to choose how they would walk each day. He reminded them of God's goodness, of the victories he had won. Then he made a declaration: my house will serve the Lord. Faith must become a household choice, not simply words we hear. Let our homes become foundations where the presence of God is near. Let our children see forgiveness. Let them see us choose what's right. Let them learn that serving Jesus is a joy and not a burden. Scripture also tells a warning of a generation that forgot. They knew the stories of God's power, but they stopped remembering Him. They inherited the history, but did not inherit faith. They knew about the miracles, but walked another way. So we must not simply tell the stories, we must live them every day. The next generation needs more than words about our faith. They need to see us trusting. They need to see us pray. They need to see God's character reflected in our lives. Samuel heard God's voice while young and answered when God called. David was still a shepherd when his future became known. Josiah became a king while young and sought the Lord with courage. Timothy learned the scriptures early and became a servant of the gospel. Age does not limit God's calling, and youth is not a weakness. Give the young a place to serve you. Give them wisdom and direction. Let the elders become their mentors. Let the young bring fresh courage. May generations walk together under God's unchanging grace. Who was faithful yesterday? Our God. Who is faithful today? Our God. Who will be faithful tomorrow? Our God. What will we pass forward? Our faith. What will we teach our children? To trust the Lord. From generation to generation, sometimes families carry burdens from one generation to the next. Old wounds become traditions if nobody chooses to heal. But Jesus brings redemption into places filled with pain. He can teach a family something different and break destructive patterns. Let forgiveness begin with us, Lord. Let reconciliation have a voice. They carried stories of His goodness and passed them down through faith. They taught us not to fear the darkness. They taught us how to pray. They showed us that a faithful life can speak beyond the grave. Now we stand upon their shoulders. I waited, but I wasn't forgotten. I trusted, and God made a way. Oh. There are seasons when we're waiting for a door that hasn't opened. We have prayed about the future, but the answer hasn't come. We can see another person's blessing and wonder when our time will come. We can question our own journey when the waiting feels too long. But faith does not mean knowing exactly when the answer comes. Faith means trusting God's wisdom while we're waiting for the dawn. a promise that seemed impossible with time. He and Sarah had to carry a hope that looked beyond their years. There were moments of uncertainty, there were moments when they struggled, but eventually Isaac came, and the promise became real. Their story teaches every heart that God's timing isn't ours. What looks impossible to people can still be possible with God. So when I see no evidence, Lord, let me still believe your word. Your promise doesn't lose its power just because the wait is long. Joseph saw a dream when young, but the dream seemed far away. Instead of honor and fulfillment, he experienced rejection. He was thrown into a pit, Lord, then sold and taken far from home. He served within another household and later suffered prison. Years could have made him bitter. Years could have stolen all his own. But God was shaping his character while Joseph learned to trust. Then the day of elevation came and he understood at last. The waiting wasn't wasted time, it prepared him for his task. The promise was worth the waiting, the journey was worth the tears. God was working in the silence through the passing of the years. The promise was worth the waiting, his word remains secure. What he begins, he can complete, for his faithfulness endures. David was anointed king, but still returned to tend the sheep. The oil had touched his forehead, but the throne was not yet his. Then Saul became his enemy, and David had to hide. He lived inside the wilderness while carrying a promise inside. He could have taken shortcuts, he could have forced his way, but he chose to wait for God's timing and let God decide the day. There are things we cannot rush, Lord, without damaging the blessing. Teach us patience in the wilderness until your timing comes. Hannah prayed through many seasons, carrying a desire deep within. Her tears became her language when she could not find the words. Yet she returned again to worship, she returned again to pray. She refused to let disappointment take her faith away. When Samuel finally arrived, she remembered God's compassion. The answer became a testimony to the power of persistent prayer. So when my heart becomes discouraged, when my hope begins to fade, teach me to keep bringing everything to the God who hears me pray. Sometimes waiting becomes harder when another person moves ahead. Their success can make us question why our own door hasn't opened. But someone else's blessing doesn't mean that mine is gone. God can write a different story for every person on the road. So I will celebrate their victory, I will bless them without envy. Their harvest is not my deadline, and their season isn't mine. Help me cultivate contentment while I wait for what is right. Let gratitude protect my spirit.
from comparison and strife. Is God still working? Yes, He is. Is God still faithful? Yes, He is. Does silence mean forgotten? No, it does not. Will we keep believing? Yes, we will. Even when the waiting is long, we will trust the Lord. The wilderness can feel like nothing is happening with our lives, but sometimes God uses hidden seasons to prepare us for the next. Moses spent years in the wilderness before returning to Egypt's land. Those quiet years were preparation for the calling in His hands. We can see another person's blessing and wonder when our time will come. We can question our own journey.
Ay, 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 ay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I will run this race with faith.
I will finish strong in grace.
Eyes upon the Lord Jesus.
I will never lose my way.
Every life becomes a journey. Every heart must choose a road. There are mountains, there are valleys. There are times we carry loads. Faith is not a race for speed, Lord. It is learning to endure. It is keeping eyes on Jesus when the pathway isn't sure. Many faithful walk before us, leaving footprints in the dust. They believe beyond their circumstances, and they place their lives in you. Now the baton has been handed to the generation standing here. May we run with holy courage. May we finish without fear.
I will run the race with faith. I will walk the road with grace.
Though the journey may be difficult,
I will keep my eyes on Jesus. I will run the race with faith.
I will not turn back today.
The one who called me to this journey
Will give me strength.
strength along the way.
Yeah. Hey, Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he'd go. He trusted in the voice of God and stepped into the unknown. Faith sometimes begins with movement. Before we understand the plan, God may call us from the familiar to become what He has planned. He carried promise through the years. He walked through uncertainty. His journey teaches us that faith can grow through mystery. So when you call me from the familiar, give me courage to obey. Let me trust the one who sees tomorrow when I cannot see today. Moses once stood before a mountain with the calling far too great. He felt unable, weak and fearful, but God promised to be there. He had questions about his weakness. He had reasons to hesitate. Yet the Lord continued calling, and Moses learned to trust His grace. He returned to face the Pharaoh. He led people through the sea. What began with trembling footsteps became a journey of faith. Sometimes courage isn't feeling strong. It is moving when God says go. The strength comes while we're walking because His presence leads the way. Ruth walked beside Naomi into an unfamiliar land. She chose loyalty over comfort and trusted God with both hands. She didn't know her future, followed where
she was led.
Her journey was not spectacular by the standards of the world. It was made of daily faithfulness, small decisions,
Quiet work,
and sometimes that is what our race is. Not a moment in the sky, but 1,000 faithful choices made while walking
side by side. I will run the race with faith.
I will rock the
I
road
will
with grace.
run the road with grace.
Though the journey may be difficult,
I will keep my eyes on Jesus. I will run the race with faith.
I will not turn back today.
The one who called me to this journey
Will give me strength.
along the way.
Hey, David's journey had its battles. He knew victory and defeat. He knew caves and royal places.
He knew enemies and friends.
But through every changing season, he kept returning to the Lord. Even when he made mistakes, he sought forgiveness
And restored.
His journey wasn't perfect, but his heart kept turning back. That is hope for
Every runner
who has stumbled on the track. You can fall and still keep running. You can fail and rise again. Grace can meet you in the ashes and restore your heart to faith. Paul traveled through many nations, carrying the gospel of Christ. He endured rejection and suffering for the message he believed. He knew the road would not be easy, yet he continued without fear. His life became a living witness that Jesus was worth everything. He didn't measure
his success.
by comfort or applause.
He measured it by faithfulness to the calling of the Lord.
May we learn from his endurance. May we value what is true. When our race is almost finished, may we still be
Faithful to
when the road gets hard,
keep running,
when the night gets long,
keep believing.
when you stumble,
Rise again.
when you're tired, look to Jesus,
Who gives us strength?
the Lord. We will finish the race. There are moments on the journey when your strength begins to fade. You have prayed for many seasons.
You wonder if you've changed.
But remember all the distance that the Lord has brought you through. The same God who helped you yesterday will give you strength anew. You don't have to run tomorrow with the strength you have today. Grace will meet you in the morning. Mercy will prepare